Alright, well, hey everybody, my name is Justin Banda, and I'm going to be performing experiment 10.1, Hooke's Law. So, I've already got a couple of things set up here. I've got my little bag of sand. What you're going to need is this bag of sand filled with 650 milligrams of, of sand or kitty litter or an equatable substance. You can see here I've got this gram scale. It kind of goes around many times as you need it to. So to measure this, we need to have 650 grams. So you can see I've made a little puncture mark here, and I'm just going to put the phone down for a second and hook it. So now you can see that the bag is hooked, and just to make sure, we're going to measure it, and if we're right, it should wind up all the way around and back on the 50. There we go, 650. So this bag weighs 650 grams, so this is acceptable to use. Alright, so our setup here is kind of like a little trap here. It would make Fred from Scooby-Doo proud, at least. So what we've got here is this little spring, I don't know if you can see it here, and connected to this ruler that's held up by two books, so you know it's not going anywhere. And this spring is connected here with two paper clips. One right here that you can see I've kind of twisted into this this knot so that the spring doesn't fall, and this S shape here. So we can hook a bag on it. Now, in order for this experiment to work, your spring needs to be able to be, we need to hook an empty bag to the spring and see how long it is. So hold on a second while I hook this. Oops, looks like I've lost my spring. There we go. Alright, so you can see that the spring is pretty strong. It hasn't stretched at all. This is a really light bag, and it's not going anywhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to unhook it and hook up the bag with 650 grams of sand next. So I'm going to hook this up, and hold on a second. And just so you can see the drastic effect that this has on the spring, we're going to let it go. And I've measured these beforehand, and the measurement for the spring with the empty bag is only with an empty bag the spring is only 1 1/4 inches long. The length of the spring with a full bag is 5 3/4 of an inch long, so it's almost 6 inches here. So this experiment will work. So now what we're gonna do is we got to make sure that the spring goes back to its original length, because if it doesn't, then your spring is too weak, and we need to start over with a different spring that's slightly stronger. So, pardon me. And you can see that the spring goes back to its normal length, so we're okay. So, the next step that we have to do is we need to take 100 grams of sand out of the bag so that it has 550 grams of sand in it now. So, the book says that the best way to do this is to pour the sand out of the bag onto the scale. As you can see, my scale is a little bit more of it's a hook scale instead, so that won't be as easy. So I'll be right back while I measure that down. So I'll be right back. Alright, and we're back. Due to a mixture of clerical oversight and or me being blonde and stupid, actually I'm not blonde and I'm pretty sure I'm not stupid either, but anyway, due to a combination of those factors, turns out we started the scale at, if I had actually been counting the lengths of the spring right, we actually started out at 550, so we actually started out at 600. So because the experiment requires us to go from 650 to all the way down to 150, we're just going to be going down in segments of 100 instead. So same effect, slightly different weights. The reason we're doing that is because my gram scale, as you can see here, if you spin it, it will only go to, whoopsie, that didn't sound good. Crap. Well, anyway, the point is, it only went to, it barely made it to this point here in between 50 and 100, so about 75. So, once I fix my scale, we'll be back in, whoops. Alright, I'm really not sure what's going on here. Hold on. And we're yet again back in business. Okay, so what we have to do now is, now that we've measured this bag of sand, haven't touched that since I fixed the scale, what we're going to do is we're going to hang it on our little springy contraption here, and then we're going to measure the length of the string. And this is at, if we started out at 600, then we're at 500 now. So we're going to be moving down in increments. And it looks like I lost my paper clip. Alright, so we're going to hang the bag on the spring here, and I'm going to measure it. So, pardon me for un momento. Alright, and we're back in business again. Pardon the technical difficulties. And we're going to go right in there, and we're going to watch the spring droop. Perfect. Okay, now, got this really cool three-sided architectural ruler. And I'm going to be measuring the length of this spring. So if we're starting at 0, then we are at 4.5 inches. So off to the handy dandy MacBook, and for the next installment we are at 4.5 inches. Kind of hard to type with one hand busy. Okay, holding the phone. Alright, so now we have to take out 100 grams again. So now that we're at 500, we're going to go down to 400. And I'll take you back when we get there. Alright, and we're back, and so now you can see that we are at 400. So this bag right here weighs 400 grams. So we're going to take it off the scale here. Unhook it. And take it by these little notch marks. And wow, the perspective is so altered when you see life through the lens of a camera. Alright, hold on, let me put this down. So, the reason this experiment is so late and wasn't really done when it was supposed to be done is because of the incredible difficulty in getting sand. Now, I live a couple blocks away from Lake Michigan, so sand isn't exactly a rare commodity. Except in winter, which it is now. So we're going to measure the spring here. We're now at 4 inches. And the reason sand is such a rare commodity in the wintertime is because it gets... Sand is, it's frozen over. There's a layer of ice that goes over it. We're going to actually shovel some of the sand out. So actually, I had to sit in the sand in the cold with the wind blowing against me for about an hour, hitting a rock, scraping the sand and the ice with this little beach rock. And that wasn't too much fun, but anyway, we wound up with the sand, so let's measure this and see how much this is. So my main difficulty was in obtaining the sand. Alright, so starting at 0, and where are we at? We need to be at 300. Ah, we're almost there. Just take a little bit more out. Let's see, that much. Perfect. Alright, so now we're going to measure the length of the spring with this little baby attached to it. I keep dropping this little S-shaped bit here. This is really boring. I'd skip over this part, this repetitive part, but this is kind of the important part. So, alright, so now let's take a look at the spring, measure it, and if it would stop bouncing, we'd be in business. We're at 3 1/4 inches. Three and a quarter. All right. And that is for. All right. We're gonna make this simple for ourselves. Empty bag. 0G. Not gigabytes, just G. A length of, okay, so 600 G. This one is 500 G. If I knew how to read a scale the right way, we'd still be in trouble because my scale doesn't read, sorry, 400. My scale doesn't read anything higher than about 625 grams, so. And then this was 300. Alright, so now we're going to do 200 and 100. And this, I'm sorry for the camera, I'm trying to do real life and video at the same time. So we're going to deattach this from this, sorry, doohickey right here. I feel like I'm recording TMZ or something. Alright. So to make this simple on me, that. You just love it when your equipment fails to operate the way you need it to. So we're at about 300, and I'm going to put the camera down while I move us down to 200. Because 200 is where it's at. Usually this is about two spoonfuls, something like that. So, and just on the money. Perfect. So now you can see that the bag is really, really empty compared to what it was at before. So if you pardon me for 1 second, we're going to hook it back up to this doohickey here, and we'll be in business. Alrighty. Now, when the spring stops bouncing, you can kind of see where it's at. Alright, stop bouncing enough. And this is actually at 2.5 inches. So, the length of this string is getting the length of the spring is getting exponentially smaller. I don't know if that's the right word to use. So now we're going to do one final test, bring it down to 100, and then we're going to see how long the spring is then. And compare that to the empty bag. I'm going to put you down for a minute. And we're going to shovel out another 100 grams. And it's getting really hard to do this without ripping the bottom of the bag, but hey. Okay, we're at 150, just over 150, 160. So yeah. So let's try that. I feel like I'm measuring ice cream or something tasty here. It seems that these measurements are becoming more and more testy with me here. Like the more I take out towards the bottom, the scale gets weirder and weirder. And okay, finally, after 4 scoops, we are at 100. So, here is our little bag. Interesting story, coming home from the beach with this bag of sand hidden beneath my coat because I did not wear gloves like an idiot. I was holding this bag of sand-like substance here, and holding it underneath my coat, and apparently cops don't like it when you hold bags of sand in little Ziploc bags beneath your coat. I think you're trying to sell drugs or something. I don't know who snorts sand, huffing rocks. But, so anyway, We are at about 1.5 inches. Just over 1.5 inches. Alright, so I guess that's the end of this experiment. Here, let's take a look at the book. Alright, that's it. We're done. So thank you for joining me, and let me clean up this sand here before everybody starts to think I have some kind of sand fetish, and we're going to clean up. So I will see you later. Bye.